Hey, Cheddheads, welcome back to Cheddar. Medical marijuana has been legal here in New York State since 2014, but how far away is the Big Apple from actually passing recreational cannabis laws? So to break it all down for us, he's Scott McGovern. He's the founder and CEO of Green Rush Daily. Scott, thanks so much for joining us. So tell us and give our viewers a little bit of an update of what's happening in terms of getting this potentially on a ballot, the New York process of how this could be potentially legal, all this stuff. Is the goal to potentially have this passed by 2019?
Yeah, so there's a process called constitutional convention that happens every 20 years. So otherwise it would take at least 5 years for it to get on the ballot, but because of constitutional convention, they're able to get it on by 2019. So there's a chance that it could pass.
And just really quickly to clarify, I've heard different reports and rumors, and maybe you can really clarify it for our viewers. I've heard in New York State, it's different than it is in Colorado, California, all these other states where voters can put a referendum on a ballot to get it passed. I've always heard in New York, it has to go through state legislatures first before it can be up to vote. Is that true or is that not true?
To be honest with you, I really don't know the legal ramification of how it has to go through, but I believe New York State is one of the strictest, so I would assume that that's possibly true.
Okay.
Well, this political action committee that's wanting to go through this convention called Restrict and Regulate, they are basically targeting by making appearances at festivals, concerts, things like that throughout the summer. What demographic is it they're really trying to hit?
I think the millennial demographic is a really strong suit when it comes to legalization of cannabis. I think baby boomers as well is a big one. And I think, the more people know about it and the more people learn about it, the more they feel comfortable about it. And then from a medical standpoint, especially, it's very acceptable and widely. I think 58% of people approve of recreational cannabis, and something like 78% of people approve of medical. So, yeah.
And regarding New York State, a New York State Assemblyman is considering a bill for menstrual cramps. We talked about this yesterday on Between Bells yesterday, and how beneficial it is for a lot of women who are dealing with cramps, and that it's one of the best things that they can use. So what kind of hurdles does that need to go through to get that passed? And is that an easier kind of segue if that's able to get passed to then it recreationally being used across the board?
So I don't think anything's easy to get passed through in New York. They just added chronic pain last year to the list. I think that women's menstrual cramps is something that seriously should be considered, because women aren't using it to get high and using it to get intoxicated.
A lot of it's just topical stuff.
Exactly. There's a couple of companies making products geared towards females, and they've seen extreme success with using them, not only amongst women, but also amongst the public in terms of popularity.
Well, yeah, I mean, it is definitely a medical condition. It's not something that women are just going out and having menstrual cycles once a month just for the heck of it. I'm pretty sure the medical community knows that as well. But also financial experts are saying that if they are to legalize not just medical marijuana across the board, this is across the U.S., not just in the state of New York, it could bring in nearly $30 billion a year in tax revenues. So why can't the state of New York see the financial benefit and gain by legalizing all forms of marijuana?
And to add to that, New York is widely viewed as a very progressive state.
Yes.
So why is it that it's such an arduous process to get something like this passed when other states like Nevada and Colorado are far more conservative than a place like New York?
I think New York has, just due to the population that we have here and the regulation that we have, I think because of some other industries that are involved that do not want to see the legalization passed, they are putting a lot of roadblocks and not letting things pass through. So everything's a lot harder than in states where, Colorado has a lot less population. It's a lot easier to get things through. I think that's the only reason.
Well, right here in New York, the company Vireo Health, they have posted medical marijuana ads in subways. This, though, has spawned some sort of huge outcry. Why are people upset?
Just this morning I saw somebody put an X through one of them.
Don't you love New Yorkers that carry around Sharpies in their pockets just in case there's something they don't like and they need to be able to
But in New Yorkers' defense, I've seen those same Sharpie stuff on random mattress ads in the subway. So
That's true.
But
they just want to draw.
They're probably not even looking at the ads.
They just want to draw on something.
No, it's big news. It's a big change. It's starting to happen. That's the Green Rush. It's just the beginning. It's just the tip of the iceberg. And as legalization continues to happen throughout the country, you're going to see more regulation. And without regulation, we can't have legalization. So they go hand in hand.
But let's talk for our viewers. Obviously, we're broadcast across the world that aren't on New York subways. What are these ads, very quickly? What do they look like?
So they're just ads targeted for people that may have one of the listed conditions for New York State for medical marijuana. They're looking, I think there's 18,000 registered patients in the state of New York at this point in time, just over 18,000. And you think about a city that's got over 9 million people in it, that's a very small percentage of the people here that qualify for these conditions. So I think it's just, they're trying to capture a new audience.
All right, Scott McGovern, founder and CEO over at Green Rush Daily. Thank you so very much for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
All right, guys, I want to get a quick look at the markets right now before we move on to show you where we're at. We're almost 30 minutes into today's trading, and across the board, as we pointed to earlier, that the futures were pointing to a higher open, but right now the market